to our top story now. The repatriation of 151 South Africans from Wuhan is underway. The Chinese city is at the epicentre of the corona outbreak. Health Minister Zweli Mkhize assured South Africans that strict measures are being taken to ensure evacuees from Wuhan don't infect each other or anyone else. I'm joined now by Doctor Sibongile Walaza from the National Institute of Communicable Diseases. She's a senior epidemiologist in that institution. Doctor, thank you very much for your time. Firstly, I want to pick up on the continent. 2 more cases have now been confirmed, and it adds to the 4 that were reported at the weekend. Countries affected in the main, Egypt, Algeria, and I think it's Nigeria. That's the 3rd country, yes. What is your role as the NICD on the continent in as far as tracking this virus?
So our role as NICD does provide testing, which it is a reference lab for some of the African countries. In that, then initially some of the countries didn't have the test, so we did the test for them, and then sometimes they refer their samples for us to confirm the results. So that's the role that we're playing. But there's a broader role in Africa as well. I mean, there's Africa CDC, and there's a group of people, including all the African countries, where we sit and discuss on how to better manage the outbreak.
Are you familiar with the screening processes in most of the continent?
Yes, most of the countries will use the temperature screening, in that when patients or people coming in, because initially we didn't have any cases, right? So the expectation was that the cases would be coming from outside.
When you say temperature screening, I'm sorry to butt in, but there's a specific reason I'm asking you this question. When you say temperature screening at airports, major airports, for example, yes. What screening measurements or tools are used?
So they're using temperature screening. So they'll use the questionnaire first of all to just find out where people have been, because there's no way of knowing where people are coming from. So they'll use the questionnaires asking whether people have been in contact with 6 people or they've been in areas where the coronavirus has been circulating.
So that questionnaire relies mostly on the honesty of the passenger, right?
Yes, correct.
But importantly, it's the screening measures. I'm quite interested in the equipment that's there.
So that's the temperature screening, where they take your temperature. So then if you got a high temperature, then they'll pull you to the side and they'll ask you more questions, and then from there take it forward.
A media colleague traveled to Ghana at the weekend, and she says that all that was done to them was to be made to stand in front of a scanner, but this scanner is not individualized. People can still pass by, so you're not sure who's being tested. How effective is that screening process?
Well, I mean, there have been some issues with some of the screening methods or temperature screens, but then I can't say for Ghana because I'm not sure what you're saying, but I can say for South Africa is that then they do where you have to stand and then they take the measurement in front of you. But again, it also depends where people are coming from. So I'm not sure where your colleague was coming from was part of the screen, because most of the countries will screen if you're coming from an area where there's a community spread of the coronavirus.
Okay. All right. Let's come back to the evacuation process from Wuhan. Your role that you are going to be playing as the NICD, working in tandem with the military. This is going to be largely a military process, evacuating them. What role are you going to play specifically there?
So the function of as you rightly said, that the function of the NICD is to support the National Department of Health. So our role is really to just make sure that, again, the processes are in place, and also in terms of how to do the screening, and also most importantly, to do the testing, because then all those people that are coming back in are going to have to be tested at some point, and we're going to have to do all those tests.
How important will it be for the evacuees to comply very strictly with the 21-day quarantine period?
They'll have to. I mean, that's important. That's one of the main successes or something that have to be used for quarantine. But again, there's also issues of ethics and all of that. But then they have to, I mean, that's what makes quarantine works, is that people have then to comply, in that they have to stay in the area and not go out and mix with other people, because then if that happens, then it means it's not quarantining. You're not protecting the transmission, so you're letting people go out.
Yeah. Final question to you. Public awareness campaigns.
Yes.
Do you think as a country we have done enough in educating the public about how the coronavirus manifests, the symptoms, hygiene processes, for example, that people have to undertake? Are we well equipped, would you say, as the public?
So, I mean, we provided information, but in any other situation, like in any other situation, there's always room for improvement. But in terms of public awareness, we've done quite a bit on radio and on TV, and again on social media. But again, also just providing trainings to the healthcare workers on all different levels. So with the hope that they can also pass on the message. But again, I think it needs continued information, and also just making people aware where to get the correct information, because again, there's a lot of information going out there, but just to know the correct platforms where to go when they're looking for information. I think that we've provided, but again, it's something that needs to continue going forward, because the situation changes with the time, as you've seen with the outbreak. I mean, information is changing all the time.
All right. Dr. Sibongile Walaza, thank you very much.